call to order the city council meeting of March 15th, 2023. Everybody please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would anybody like to lead us in a prayer? If not, we will. Thank you. Okay. First of all, phone call. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Phone call.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Doug,
Here.
Councilwoman Covich. Present. Councilwoman Mendoza.
Here.
Councilman Ansky.
Here.
Jan Smith, Finance Officer. Here. Matt Pablo, Public Works.
Here.
Julie Danowski, Records Clerk. Here. Chief McQuay.
Yeah.
And we have Corporal Feliciani tonight rather than Lieutenant Yachts. And City Attorney Andrew Hand. I'm here. The agenda for this meeting was posted on the city's website and City Hall bulletin board on Wednesday, March 8, 2023, and amended on March 9th to add back up to item number 1.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, were you gonna go over a meeting?
Like I'm
You wanted to go over something?
I was just going to remind everybody that please turn your cell phones off. It's something I usually forget to tell y'all, and I will try to remember to do mine so we can keep this meeting moving. Also, just for safety reasons, we should always advise y'all that we have the exits of this building are properly marked. There's one in the back, there's one on this side over here. If anything was to happen, we all know how to exit this very, very quickly. Guess the next thing is council comments regarding the agenda. Okay? Guys, if any member of the council have any comments on the agenda items that we're going to cover tonight? Good? You good? Jane, you good?
I am good with the agenda, thank you.
Okay, all right. The next item is public comments on non-agenda items. I would ask that everybody please limit your comments to 3 minutes. I know sometimes that seems kind of restrictive, but the reason for it is twofold, and the biggest reason is I want to get this meeting over. And if we have even 2 or 3 people stand up and talk for 20 minutes, this meeting will last quite a while. So I would like to ask everyone, try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Okay. Is anybody signed up?
No, sir.
Nobody signed up? Okay. Is anybody on view or?
Zoom? I have no one on Zoom either.
Okay, does anybody in the audience like to talk? Oh, okay, Rick. Please state your name and address.
Good evening, my name is Rex Lehman, 21230 Palatka Drive, Dunnellon, Florida. My wife sent me with this request. She wants to know if you could please fill the pothole in the street in front of the Spanish restaurant. She said it's been here 14 months, and she would like to say, since you go to the meetings, if you would stand up and say something.
The one over here in front of the Spanish restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Matt, you got that? Does anybody else have any comments?
On Pennsylvania. Yeah.
All right. The next items are in the consent agenda, which are the minutes of our meetings. And agenda items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Yeah. I have a motion to accept the consent agenda items.
I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda items.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. Any discussion? Aye. Okay, all right. Did the public get to comment on that? I'll get mine.
Yes,
Oh, they do?
you should ask for public comment.
Okay, we have any public comments on the consent agenda items? We did cover those very quickly, and there was an agenda in the back, so please pick up. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, all right, good deal. All right. Item number 7. Appointment of mayor to seat 1. We accept public comments. Anybody sign up for that?
No, sir.
Nobody on Zoom?
No, sir.
Okay, anybody in the audience would like to speak on this? Well, that's good. Okay. As I am the subject of this agenda item, I will abstain from any voting.
I make a motion that Mr. Dunn is our new mayor.
Is there a second?
Second, I would propose that Wally Dunn be appointed as the mayor, city council seat 1, until the next regular or special session.
And council, if that'll be the motion, the only recommendation I would add on there is that is pending, that just pending resignation from the current vice mayor's seat be added to the motion.
Pending resignation.
Okay. And I did that resignation. Do you still have it, Mandy?
I do.
Okay, all right. Okay.
And he did. He submitted a resignation that stated if he were selected to fill seat 1, he resigns his seat 4 immediately.
Okay. No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. I greatly appreciate this. 3 months ago, I had no idea this is where I'd end up. I was struggling trying to get elected to seat 4, but I do appreciate all the support. I think we have built a great council, and I think we should be able to get a few things done. I appreciate everybody's support. All right. Okay. And you still in, right? I go down there, or where?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Wallace Dunn II,
I, Wallace Dunn II,
a citizen of the state of Florida and of the United States of America,
a citizen of the state of Florida and the United States of America,
and being employed by or an officer of
being employed by and an officer of
the city of Dunnellon
the city of Dunnellon,
and a recipient of public funds
and a recipient of public funds,
as such employee or officer,
as such employee or officer,
do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Florida.
and the state of Florida.
You want to scoot down or you want me it just,
No, I'm gonna stay right here. Don't worry about that later. I do appreciate all the support I have gotten from this council, this staff, and the citizens of Dunnellon and the surrounding area. It has been remarkable what I have learned in 3 months. It seems like every day I learn a whole lot of stuff I never dreamed I would ever want to know. But it's been fun, and hopefully we can keep things moving. Again, hopefully if you ever have any questions and need to get hold of me, please contact the city, or you can email me, and I will get back. I do appreciate all the support. Thank you. Okay. Oh. We'll go on. Item number 8. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this is item number 9. Dunnellon High School contribution request. We received a request for funds to support Dunnellon High School and the seniors. And, I think it's been in the last 3 months, this council had a discussion on this, and I believe we all kind of agreed that contributions should be handled by individuals themselves or individual members of the council, not necessarily the city. Although this is a very worthwhile contribution, I personally believe that if somebody on the council wants to make a contribution, they should do that, and I have done that. But I do not think this is something we should use city funds for. Now, do we want to have a discussion on that?
Yeah, I listened to the conversation about this over the last meeting, and I stand firm, as I did when I presented in January, that us making decisions about taxpayer money for nonprofits and other donations, I don't feel that that is a function of the city. I know that we had talked about writing, I think it was a resolution about this, that someone said, oh, that would be pretty simple, so I'm really hoping that we see that come down the pike soon. And I would also stand firm that making exceptions, I agree, it's a good cause. There's a lot of good causes that have come before us, requests to the city, but picking and choosing isn't really, I think, our job. So I'm opposed to making donations of these funds.
Yeah.
I agree with both you all and Julianne.
Now, Jan, you generally had a different
Yes,
belief
I
on that, so
do.
please
I
do.
just believe that Dunnellon High School is a very strong part of our community. Give you a perfect example, our Christmas parade. If you were to start counting ROTC, the band, the clubs and so on that participate, teenagers are very active. Many of them have jobs and so on. There was a comment from the public that, oh, they don't volunteer here within the city of Dunnellon. And that is because many of our students that are going through 4 years of school at Dunnellon High School don't live in Dunnellon. They live far away. I'm talking like some of them are an hour bus ride away, but they still have a Dunnellon address. And I still feel that Dunnellon High School is a very important part of our community, and they're not asking for thousands of dollars. What was the figure they were asking for, 600?
250.
250. I'm saying for 250, I think it would really look good on the graduation program to say, you know, have Dunnellon City Council, or even better, City of Dunnellon supports Dunnellon High School.
Okay. No, Jan, I echo what you're saying about the city and the fact this is Dunnellon High School. Totally get it, but again, I think our responsibility lies in that these are city funds that the taxpayers have given us to manage. And again, if anyone in the public or on this council would like to make a contribution, I totally support that and encourage it. And like I said, I have made a contribution to them for this, and anybody else wants to, please consider that. Okay. So do we have a motion? Or is this something we have to do? This really isn't the agenda, is it?
I think, I don't know that you need a motion as long as you have a consensus, and we have our direction to bring back a resolution to you
Okay.
next month.
Okay, let's do that. All right, sorry. I'll learn how to run this meeting after a while. Okay. The next item is a public hearing statement.
Yes, sir. All persons wishing to address the city council will be asked to limit their comments to the specific subject being addressed. Public opinions and input are valued by the council. However, it is requested that comments are directed at specific issues rather than personal comments directed toward the council members or staff in order to foster mutual respect between council members and the public. Members of the public in attendance at public forums should listen courteously and attentively to all public discussions before the body and focus on the business at hand. They shall refrain from interrupting other speakers, making personal comments not germane to the business of the body, or otherwise interfering with the orderly conduct of meetings. Members of the public addressing city council and boards or commissions on a specific project or proposal are requested to disclose any personal interest or relationship and any business, professional, or financial interests with any individual, group, project, or proposal regarding the subject matter under review. Members of the public should always err on the side of more public disclosure, not less, in order to provide integrity to the public process.
Okay. Agenda item number 10. It is now 5:55 p.m. I close the regular meeting and open the public hearing to discuss public hearing ordinance ORD 2022-12, the boat ramp launch fee posted on the city's website on February the 16th, 2023, and advertised in the Riverland News on February the 24th. Do we have any staff comments?
Council, this particular ordinance, 2022-12, you've seen before. Of course, it's here for second public reading. The ordinance has been crafted in line with your requests. The only changes, I think, from the initial draft that you saw prior to the workshop were the penalty section, addressing a higher municipal code fine. And Mandy, this one actually looks like the one on the agenda is the $50 per violation fine. So this looks like it was the previous version that was posted here.
Hold on, I can pull up the,
We can pull up a new one, and should council wish to pass it, we can just read in the amendment to it. But in any case, all this ordinance does is it establishes the ability of the city council to set a launch fee for the Centennial Park boat ramp by resolution, and a penalty system for violations.
Okay. All right. Do we have any public comments on this item? And please try to keep those comments within 3 minutes. Yes, Bill.
I realize this is going to be a contrarian position. Bill Liver, 9552, 92nd Court Road, Dunnellon. A couple of things I want to say about that. First of all, before I get into the details, what I wanted to say is we talked about banning commercial use from the ramp, which I strongly support, particularly liveries. The ramp is too small, and there's not enough parking for commercial use, and they would take up the ramp. I mean, some of us who use the whole ramp are used to waiting 45 minutes to get our boat out of the water because of commercial use there. And people staging kayaks and canoes and getting organized, so it's become almost unusable. I don't use it anymore. So that's one of the things. The other thing, the overall umbrella of what I'm talking about and what I'd like to talk about is what is the brand of Dunnellon? What are we trying to do? We're trying to make Dunnellon a very friendly city. We want to make it a visitor-friendly city. That's what the distinctive Dunnellon branding was all about when we had the meeting. Many of you probably attended that. And I think that was a good first step in terms of making Dunnellon a unique city because of how friendly it is and how everything is open to the people. Now, with regard to the brand, there's an environmental opportunity here, I think, in the city. And that is that as the state park and as the county are trying to reduce the amount of motorboats and the amount of tubing in the river, which they've done somewhat successfully, both the county and the state, they're trying to move more towards kayaks, which have a almost zero environmental impact. I mean, those of us who use kayaks, and we have a few of them here, they realize that it doesn't disturb wildlife, it doesn't disturb vegetation, it doesn't affect the aquatic community, it's very quiet, we don't have user conflicts with kayaks, they can be steered so we don't end up with people in vegetation, so there's a lot of good things about kayak. So what I'm saying is that if you look at what the original purpose of the charging the fee was, it was for one thing, it was to pay for the cost of the ramp. So if you charge for motorboats, you're going to collect enough money to do that. So what opportunities are there to achieve some other goals? One is the visitor-friendly umbrella of distinctly Dunnellon, and Dunnellon welcomes you. The other is to demonstrate, not just here, but beyond Dunnellon, an environmental sensitivity that perhaps other people will pick up on. So my suggestion is kayaks should not be charged. Let's let the kayaks use the ramp for free. And a further thing, as you see from the handouts that I've sent out there, that are handed out, they're just going to go somewhere else. This is my own experience as state governor. You raise the fees too high, people just go somewhere else, or they don't go at all. And that's what's going to happen to you, because as you see there are 4 free ramps on Lake Rusa. Golden Dale, Peaceful Acres, which all the kayakers know about Peaceful Acres and Golden Dale. Or they'll go down to the WC ramp at the dam. And there's another one at the spillway. So there's plenty of places they can go that are free. And they're maintained by FWC, as this one was. So I don't think there's any benefit, and the amount of revenue charging kayaks is going to be insignificant because they're going to leave. And I don't think we want to do that. I think we want them to stay, and I think we want people to be happy, and I think we'll get enough money out of the boats to achieve the goal we want. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Good, thank you.
We have any other comments from the public? Is there anybody on Zoom?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, all public comments then have been heard. It is now 5:58 p.m. I close the public hearing to discuss ordinance ORD 2022-12 and reopen the March 15th City Council meeting. Move on to agenda item number 11, final reading of the ordinance.
Before we do that, I'll just be reading, we'll need a motion to read by title only,
Oh, yeah.
but I think we will need to get clarification from Andrew on how to handle the fact that the wrong version actually got attached to the agenda. And I want to make sure, Andrew, that the section that we're talking about is E under section 46-103 penalties. It says $50 and it's now $100.
So the changes, I'll go ahead and read them in, Mandy, so that it's on the record.
Perfect, thank you.
Previously, E read, all civil municipal code fines under this article would be $50 per violation. Under the revised language, the civil municipal code fine for the first violation of this ordinance shall be $100 per violation plus any applicable administrative costs and/or court costs. And F was added, which states increased civil municipal code fines may be imposed for repeated violations of this ordinance. A repeat violation is a second or subsequent violation of this ordinance committed within 6 months of a prior violation and for which the violator admits responsibility or is found guilty. G was also added to the version that was published on this agenda. The civil municipal code fine for the first repeat violation shall be $150 plus any applicable administrative costs and/or court costs. And finally, H, the Civil Municipal Code fine for a second or any subsequent repeat violation thereafter shall be $300 plus any applicable administrative or court costs. So those are the only changes, otherwise the ordinance is identical.
So we have a motion to move the ordinance 20-22-12 be read by title only.
I move the ordinance 2022-12 be read by title only.
Have a second?
Second it.
Okay. Any discussion? If not,
I just want to acknowledge Mr. Vibbert's comments and his ideas about motorboats versus kayaks, and acknowledge that as we move to read this by title only and move it forward, that later on we'll have the opportunity to make those specific decisions.
that's very good, because Bill, I don't know if you knew this, but basically the only thing in this ordinance as far as money had to do with fines and penalties. As far as setting the rates for boats, kayaks, and all that has not been done yet. And we did it this way, so if later we put an amount in and wanted to change it, we wouldn't have to bring the ordinance back out to do it. Okay. Good
Thank
point, good point. Okay, any other comments?
Not
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, okay.
Ordinance number 2022-12, an ordinance of the City of Dunnellon providing for the establishment of Centennial Park boat ramp launch fees, providing that the amount of the launch fees be set by resolution, providing for penalties and enforcement, providing for the use of revenue generated from the fees, providing for conflict, codification, severability, and effective date.
Guess we're up to number 12, department head reports.
Mayor, we need a motion to approve the ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get through. Okay.
I moved.
Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance?
I move the ordinance 2022-12 be approved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this? Y'all good? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Unanimous, okay. Now, number 12. I'm just trying to get through here in a hurry. All right, let's go. Department head reports. I'm sure we have a few.
Yes, I mean, okay, I have an update on the Ernie Mills beautification project. These are just some points that were made. Custom curbing was selected, who provided the lowest estimate, Steve Webb, to do the pavers around the flagpole. Pavers and edging to be done first in late March, early April. Dusty and Kathy worked on plant estimates. After the group agreed on plants, decided on Salmon's Nursery, lowest estimate. Plants to be done by volunteers and public works staff in the middle of April. Mulching to be completed by public works staff and volunteers after all the planning is completed. Bill Vibert and Gretchen Martin are assisting with signage to be installed by public works after all the planning and mulching. There will be an unveiling dedication ceremony once the project is complete, probably around May. Duke Energy Council volunteers and staff will be invited. And then we also have a spreadsheet that goes over, if anybody wants a copy of this, the cost of the project so far. It's coming in around $4,000 between plants, signs, and mulch, pavers, edging, and all that. And then I think the total grant funding that we had from Duke was $5,000, so we have almost $1,000 left over that we can do other beautification type projects in the park or at a different park. So if anybody has any questions on that,
Could I get a copy of that, Andy,
you want to send you a copy of it?
please?
The question I got is when will we plan to move forward with this?
Later on this month into April.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right, so if y'all don't have any more questions on that,
Can I just clarify before we move past the questions? The money for the beautification project came from the returned money from the 125 park, right?
yes,
Thank you.
yes. Yes, Duke had contributed 5,000, and they agreed to allow us to keep the money to do a project in another park.
Super.
Yes, yes. I think we reported on this already, but we got our certificate for our Safety Excellence Award from the Florida League of Cities. I believe Michelle and Troy, or Matt, Troy was gone, already spoke to you guys about that, about them coming out and visiting all the locations and recognizing the city for Safety and Excellence Initiative. So we did formally get presented with that. The TPO is asked, I'm sorry, not the TPO, the TDC is asking that we have representation on April 10th from 9 to 11 or from 4 to 6. And if we don't have anyone available, they are doing focus groups with the community and tourism industry. And they would like all of the municipalities in Marion County to have some input. But we have another option if no one's available to attend one of those focus groups. They can do a one-on-one with us through a tourism consultant that they've hired. It's called MMGY Next Factor and Destinations International. This is where your bed tax goes. So if anyone would like to volunteer for that and attend those focus groups, just let me know. And I'll coordinate that with Loretta Schaefer over at the TDC.
What was the date, Mandy, again?
April 10th, and it's, what did she say? I'm assuming it's going to be in their office over there, but I would confirm that. April 10th from 9 to 11, and again from 4 to 6.
But they will come here.
They will do a virtual meeting with us.
Oh, a virtual meeting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, through this consultant company.
Have you sent that to us by email?
I don't think so, but I will. I'll
Can you?
forward
Thank
this
you.
to you. Yeah. And then I have just one last thing. We just found out about this. I emailed you all about this. Shoot, I thought, this afternoon. There is an insurance summit that's being put on by the Florida League of Cities. And it's something that they do. They do some off and on throughout the year that are like a one-day thing, and it doesn't cost anything. This particular one that they've come out with, it's down in Fort Myers, and I sent this to you guys today, but this is the program that they're offering. It's May 17th through the 19th in Fort Myers. And they have several really good workshops that they're doing. Municipal insurance basics, Florida's insurance market, hot topics, property insurance and group health insurance, legislative updates, understanding your insurance policy, disaster preparation and recovery, employee wellness, leadership, and then they have some FEMA assistance course here, and then workers' compensation, managing and transferring risk through effective contracting. So it just goes on and on. And there's a lot of stuff here that I think would be very valuable to us. And it's something that I've not had an opportunity to attend these types of things in the last few years. I'm between workload and scheduling and just trying to get out of here, it's just not been possible. So I feel like it would be a good refresher for me to be able to go learn, and get up to speed on some of these things and be able to bring this stuff back to the city. Problem is, we don't have a budget for it because we didn't know about it. So we only, if you all would be willing to approve my attendance at this summit, there is money in council's budget if none of you are planning on going to a couple of the conferences that are budgeted in there. One's the Florida League of Cities annual conference, and one's the Florida League of Mayors annual conference. So unless you all plan on spending that money for those purposes, that money could cover my attendance, which would require a $300 registration and a 2-night hotel stay.
I think, Mandy, if you could go and represent the city and learn about this, it's something we need for you to do.
I think somebody should go.
Well, I think someone on the staff, I think it has to be you,
Yeah.
personally. I'm probably not going to any of these conferences. I'm still overwhelmed by everything I got to learn, so. And I know you're going to the CRA and that
Yep,
one.
in April, that'll be
But
one
that's
day.
in April.
And I'm doing some other things online that,
Okay.
but I don't foresee doing anything else this year as far as the budget goes.
Were you planning to go to anything?
No, I'll donate my portion.
Yeah, I will too. Were you planning to go to anything?
I'm looking forward to seeing the email Mindy's going to send us about the conference.
Okay.
I did send that to you all this
Yeah, I
afternoon.
just saw it.
Yeah, I just brought it up
Couldn't
here.
open mine again. There's problems again. I'll talk to you after.
Yeah, I'll find out. So, just because, if it was something that was already planned and in the clerk's budget and I just go, but I don't know if we need a motion now to approve this attendance since it's not in the budget and I'm going to use council's money instead of what's budgeted for the clerk. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so
I don't think we need a motion there. Can somebody make a motion that we take some of the funds that are there for the council to go to educational training and allow Mandy to go to this on insurance risk?
So moved.
Okay, second?
A second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Can we just clarify, I know that there's a fee for the conference and a fee for the hotel, so can we just maybe confirm the total cost before we vote?
it's $300 for the registration and it's $199 per night for the hotel.
So it's roughly $750 a year in taxes and all that mess, you're probably $800. Okay. Then you gotta eat too, right?
Yeah, our meal policy allows for up to $30 a day for meals.
I think we ought to approve it, and maybe with some of the things we've done to eliminate some projects, we can find the money somewhere, if we have to reappropriate it.
Yeah, I mean, just between the two conferences, if no one's going to the two conferences that are budgeted in the council's line item, it more than covers the expense.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you.
I'm good with it. Okay, all in favor of?
I'm sorry, Council, you do need to take public comment.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We have a public comment on this. We're letting Mandy go to learn more about insurance risk for the city. Any public comment? Any Zoom comment?
No, sir.
Okay, now, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No, okay, unanimous.
Okay, now I'll be quiet.
All right.
Matt, do you have anything?
Yes, I just got 3 items that I just want to give you guys a heads up on. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., the volunteers, the beautification volunteers and Public Works will be out here in the parking lot of City Hall. We're going to be pressure washing the sidewalks, curb stops, and hopefully I can get some mulch to remulch the flower beds up front. That's going to be about 3 or 4 hour job. So you will see us out here with our trucks and set up. The second thing I'd like to bring up is the Public Works crew has been out at the sewer plant where we have a storage building which belongs to FGUA. We cleaned it all out. We have one room that has to be cleaned out. It's going to be the police department's record keeping. So me and Chief Police and Mary from the police department will be removing all that stuff to get out so we can turn the keys over to public FGUA. It was brought up to my attention, I think it was at the workshop, about the water fountain here at City Hall.
Right.
I did my homework on that and with my staff to replace the water fountain out here, a standard water fountain, we're looking about $500. That's just for the water fountain. Then we have to have a plumber to come in there and mount it to the wall properly, plug it into where it's filtered. I'd like to get everybody's input on it sometime during the next week to go with the water fountain or a standalone water jug. You know, I don't drink out of water fountains. I fill my cup up with, through the water spigot. I did, or my staff in Public Works, they did get me some quotes on Culligan for $34.58 a month for a water, it's a system that just removes the chlorine from the water. I also got one from Culligan for $54.96 that just purifies the water. And that's on a monthly basis. And they would install the system for $99 one-time fee. Also, Dan from Public Works, he also got me some estimates for a standalone for Lowe's and at Walmart, just as a hot cold water system. We could get the jugs filled up for Lowe's $199 or $129. So sometime next week, just give me an input on what you guys would want, do you want a water fountain in there, or do we want a standalone one where you just put your cup underneath it, fill it up, and you're out the door, or you want to put your face up to a water spigot and drink out of the water? It's up to you, I have everything, so just let me know, and then we'll move on from there. And that's all I have.
Okay, I know you and I talked about this, and I know when you brought up the water fountain thing and COVID and all that, I honestly had not thought about it. My personal reaction to that is we don't want a water fountain. Now going with one of the other options makes sense to me, especially if the staff here, do y'all fill up water jugs or whatever from time to time and people coming in here? I know I drink water all the
I
time.
drink out of the sink.
Well, that's what I mean, but if you had this, would you use it?
I'd probably still just go fill my cup up out of the sink.
I don't want to spend the money if we're not going to use it, but I agree. I think I had recommended a water fountain, and after talking to you, I realized that doesn't make sense.
Well, just your basic water fountain
Yeah.
is $515.
Right.
That's just for the equipment.
Right.
And then I'd have to.
Then you still got
to
that.
actually install it with the filters and everything. They go up to $1,200 to $1,500 where it's a water fountain, but on the wall itself, it has a filtration system where anybody can put a cup in there, press the button like they have at the schools, they fill the cup up and they walk out. I just want everybody's input on it. I know,
Okay. All right, well, let us all think about it. and we'll get back to you. If you'll text us or send us an email or something to remind us, you know, I don't think the water fountain makes a lot of sense when I thought about it. You got thoughts?
Just, Mandy, could you poll the staff and see what the recommendations are?
You mean like what they would prefer?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll take a look at what Matt has. I haven't seen that stuff yet, so maybe by visualizing it, what it's gonna look like, you know, understanding better what it does functionally would make a recommendation, maybe one way or the other.
If I could make one comment?
Sure.
During the height of the COVID epidemic, the Marion County Health Department literally made the schools shut their fountains down.
A lot of businesses did, yeah. Yeah, that's the reason I don't think a fountain makes sense at all. Okay.
And I can't believe I'm going to beat Tim to this, but I'm sure that you'll attach some kind of cost. It sounds like it could be about $500 a year. I mean, just based a little bit on what you said. So depending what option we go with, knowing what the cost associated with is really going to be helpful.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Back to the sewer plant trailer that we had out there, that was used so we could keep our city records in. I have moved the records with Julie and my staff to a safer place with a alarm system put on it and a air conditioned, you know, room to where it's not moldy and, you know, getting rats and stuff. So
Good.
it's in a safer place now.
Good. Okay.
And that's all I have.
Got one more.
Anybody have?
When do we see the police having their, so we can turn that building over to Fuga?
Sometime next week, right, Chief?
Yes.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
sometime
cool.
next week.
Thanks.
Hey, Jan, do you have something?
Oh, I do.
No, you do.
I've got two large items. The first one is we were notified by the office of Congressman Neil Dunn, short notice, as is typical of his office, that we can apply for legislative appropriation. 2 years ago, we applied for an appropriation for a new police facility. I did request $2.7 million. That was not accepted very well for applying for that much. It was based on a guess. We currently don't have a true budget for a new police department. I have until tomorrow to apply for this. I would need direction from council if you want me to go forward with a guesstimate. I would ask that you direct me, you know, to how much, and I will complete the application based on what was submitted a couple years ago as far as the description of the facility. We received this yesterday, and this is typical. So, but we can try to see if we can achieve some funds. They're not asking for real specifics. They're asking for when can we start the project, an estimated completion date. I can push it out, you know, a year. These are just guesses on our part. But I don't think they absolutely hold us to it, as far as if we say we can complete it within a year. Well, construction is construction. So I just need direction if you would like me to fill something out and move forward with this. I would think this happens every year, but it's been 2 years since we were notified. So it could be another couple years before we're notified again. So I'm looking for some direction.
Okay. Julie?
My question, because I was able to see this when you sent it this afternoon, I understand that this is something that we've looked at for the police station in the past, and I looked at that 1 through 6 on the kinds of projects that, you know, that this qualifies for. And which one on 1 through 6 does the police station fit into? Is that number 1? Okay. And are there any other projects that, you know, have been talked about in the city that would apply in any of these 6 areas?
Not that I'm aware of.
That's the only project that you're sort of, okay.
That we have any real plan for at this time, that we qualify. The others are housing. We don't have anything
Sure.
to do with housing right now. Utilities, we're not in the utility business anymore. If we were, we could get grants coming out our ears for utilities. And conservation, we have no conservation projects that we're working on, that we could even guess at. And I, personally, I don't like to guess, but I think with this grant, there's a lot more flexibility than any other grant as far as a guesstimate.
And I do recall several years ago reviewing that grant when it went out, and you're right, we really didn't have solid information to
No.
submit the grant. When I looked at it this afternoon, I know it seems like a really, like on its face, it seems like it's a no-brainer to apply for something, but my concern is that we continue to really not have our ducks in a row and to ask for grant funding for something that we really, I mean, it was just a month ago, we were talking about if we even have enough land to do are we going to move on with the architect? So my opinion that to have this done by tomorrow, end of business, doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's just my thought.
I have a question, first of all. What was it, 2 years ago when that grant was on?
2020.
You asked for, was it 1.7 million?
2.7 million.
2.7. How can we drop that so the consideration by the reviewers?
I don't think it matters. We've dropped our amount. I don't think that's going to play a part in it at all. Because
Can you explain that?
Can I explain it? No, I can't. I'm sorry.
Well, here's how I see it. They're going to look at the population of Dunnellon. How many people does our police department serve within city limits? We have 1,900 and some people. I think they are going to look at the amount and look at our population. I really think we have a better chance of for that grant to be considered as viable, we drop that figure down to say $1.4 million.
That's what I'm asking for, is an amount to apply
Okay,
for.
that's why I'm asking.
That 2.7 million was, I'm going to say, above my pay grade to estimate. Because all I did was go out on the internet and say, okay, how much has construction cost increased? What percentage? And I used the very original plan for that police facility, and I increased it by that percentage and came up with 2.7.
I hear you.
So it was a shot in the dark. That's exactly what it was. So if council directs me for a different amount, then I'm going to use the same narrative, just a different dollar. I'll adjust budget numbers, because if I remember correctly, we might have had HVAC in there, and I don't know if we put furniture in there, but we had budget categories. They're not, this application is more of just a Word document and answering some questions. They're not, I don't believe they're asking for a full budget, but if they are, I can adjust it by the percentage change of the dollar amount that you give me. I'll just reduce it. If we go down to 1.4 million and that's 30%, I'll reduce every line item by 30% to come up with 1.4 million. That's really all I could do to make it work. So I'm just looking for direction. If you want me to crank out something by 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock tomorrow, or wait until the next cycle.
Okay, Jim, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, to add on to what Juliana said, is there anything different? I mean, it doesn't sound like it. Nothing different from anything from 2 years ago for applying to
I
the
don't
grant?
think so. I did not look at, there was a formal application 2 years ago. This year it's not, it's a list of items.
Okay.
So that's the only difference. And the only thing, that I might be a little uncomfortable with are the start and stop dates. When can we start and when do we anticipate completion? So I'm going to kind of push it out there a little bit. I don't know how much that may hurt or help. But when you're working with unknowns, I'm not sure how else to handle that.
Okay.
Not that it would hurt us. I'm not saying it would definitely hurt us, but they're just unknowns.
Other than the use of your time, is there any downside to applying? putting this in?
No, only getting disappointed when we don't get funded.
Okay.
If we don't get funded.
My third item's a little bit off of the police station topic. The conservation portion of the grant, would the kayak ramp qualify for anything like that?
That's not really conservation, in my opinion.
Okay, I was just thinking of the statements from the public where, you know, we put more kayaks on the river and it's less tear up on the river, et cetera.
But it's not reducing motorized vessels.
Okay,
You know, maybe we could spin it that way. You know, more kayaks, then the motorized vessels, you know, would find find someplace else. Would find someplace else to launch, but I don't know the conservation spin on that. I'll accept any help.
Bill
But-
Weber?
But again, we don't have project costs either.
I'm with you. Not good, thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
I think Dan went over that, our last workshop, about the time frame it takes and that FWC voting improvement plan.
Oh, okay.
It looks like a winner for us. We just have to get all our ducks in a row.
Gotcha.
Sure. I know you kind of hit me with this right when we walked in. I guess I have a different thought, and maybe I'm being crazy, but if somebody's going to offer us some money, we ought to take it. And I agree with you. I think we got to be careful about what we put down and does it make sense. But when I think back, at kind of some of the presentations the chief has had and the engineers have had and the architects have had, I think we can come up, at least I'm gonna say some things, and chief, if I get way off base here, please stop me. But, you know, it seems like he said it would take at least a year to get the permitting done if we put this project here. So that kind of gives us an idea, hey, we can't even start construction for, say, 12, 15, 16 months. Okay, maybe we'll put that down.
I'm putting this down.
Okay, and then we sit around and say, okay, how long is it gonna take to build a building? I have no idea, but I would think at least a year, year and a half, put that down. I do think we need to be a little, I mean, and I hate to say it this way too, because it seems like 2 years ago, we were still maybe dealing with a church, and now we're dealing with, we got the land, or at least a part of it. We kind of know what the other part would cost if we decide to buy it, so we could put that down. And, I don't know, pick a number.
Maybe 2
I
million, maybe
think
2
if
million.
we put 1.8 or 2 million bucks, we ought to be pretty close. I mean, that's just my ballpark kind of numbers.
And we do have the reserve. It is under $600,000 because we
Right.
spent a little bit out of it, but we do have funds to contribute to it. Now, we won't be able to ask for more.
Right.
If the project comes in higher than anticipated, then we have to find the money to fund it.
No, I got that. I got that. But
but-
I think if we have an opportunity, and like I say, I think this is pie in the sky and hope and all that kind of stuff, but I think we ought to at least put an application. And I think, again, I think some of the things we've sat and listened to with the architect, you know, talking about a year to get started, maybe a year and a half, 2 years to get it finished, we can come up with some parameters to get that done. I mean, I just think we ought to apply.
And I'll use that. I'll say a year to get started, and if I can qualify it as far as obtaining permits.
Right.
And then 2 years to completion.
Right.
And, because they're not gonna hold us to that.
No, I get that.
timetable. They just want an idea of how long, they're gonna have to sit on the money for us to request reimbursement. I kind of
Sure.
think that's how they plan.
Right. But I think we should at least apply. And I think, you know, a couple of years ago, we put in a number that I thought was way out of line, but that was just me sitting out there. But I think if we approach it from the standpoint of $1.5 million, $2 million, you know, and just say, you know, this is a number. And like you say, We're probably not gonna get it, but I think we ought to apply.
And we may get it, I don't want to be,
No, no.
negative.
No, but I think, the other thing I'm trying to say is I think a couple of years when we were doing this, we had no idea how long it would take to get permitted. I mean, this guy stood up there and said at least 2 years. And he's given us a little more information. I think we put that down and maybe that'll help us.
And one of the questions that I need to answer is, how soon can we get started with design and engineering? Basically, right away.
Well, I was gonna say, we could just pick up the phone and call a guy and say, hey, get started.
Yes, so I think that is a plus, even though construction may be a couple years out.
Sure.
If we can get started right away, we kind of know what that entails.
Got it.
So I'm just looking for direction.
Is this a no-match fund or no-match grant?
No match that I can tell right now, but we do have funds to contribute, which always helps.
Sure.
If we can say, we can put something into this, which we do have those funds set aside specifically for this building. And unless you have a problem with me stating that in the document.
Because, I mean, they're appropriated right now, or reserved. No, okay. I mean, are y'all okay with that? Just going and apply? I mean, to me, realistically, we may not get this, but why not? Who knows?
And we can keep using the same information if anything gets fine-tuned over the years too, because these appropriations are there. It's
Right.
just them notifying us.
Right.
So.
I wish they'd give us a little more lead time. Maybe I need to talk to this Mr. Dunnellon.
In 2021, it was 5 days. I don't understand why we don't have more lead time.
I'm just joking.
Yeah,
I
I
also
would
think
re-
that when the stars align and we do the work that we need to do,
Right.
and we can feel good and comfortable with the decisions that we're making, a lot of this will fall into place, and we won't feel like we have to throw a number on a grant
Right.
and send it in by tomorrow. It will
Right.
be more comfortable and it will feel right, and to me, this is, I'm not opposed to going forward with it, but I think that all of the feelings and sentiments are the fact of where we're really at with the project, which
Right.
is,
Nowhere.
We're a couple years away easily.
Yes.
So, and I don't think we deceive them by telling them, hey, it's gonna take us a year to get all the permitting and get it done, or a year and a half, whatever. Yeah, I think we go forward then.
Okay, I
Dollar
need a
figure?
consensus.
Dollar figure?
I don't know.
I was doing 1.8 in my mind. I think we were talking 1.2 before with stuff going up the way it has and then future.
I was right there, I was gonna say 1.75,
Yeah,
so.
I'm good with that.
1.8,
Yeah.
again, maybe if we keep it under 2 million, maybe we may get there. I mean,
We
and
might,
we do have some money already set aside.
right, and that would bring the project, if it comes close to 2.3-ish million, we would have the funds.
We got it.
Got it.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
are we
Let's do it.
good at 1.8?
Yep.
Okay.
Do it.
The next thing, it's good and bad news. The Florida Boater Improvement Grant for a kayak launch is not available. This grant program is only for motorized vessels, not for paddlecraft. However, they do have grants that would help us improve the ramp. There is one that we could possibly, it still may take a year for us to apply, but I'm meeting with Kimley Horn next week, originally to discuss the kayak launch. We could go for a engineering, design, and permitting planning grant through this same program for our existing boat ramp repairs. That grant in turn, which they would fund, that grant in turn could lead into a construction grant. It's called a phased, I just lost the terminology, but it's a second phase. There's no guarantee that we would receive funds for construction. But we could receive funds to find out what it's going to cost to repair the grant. Now, one thing with this voter improvement grant, with respect to our ramp, since these funds are for motorized vessels, it would be a proportion based on the percentage of motorized vessels that use our grant. In other words, if motorized vessels make up 95% and kayakers and other paddlecraft are 5%, they would fund 95% of the cost to study this. It's an estimate that we would provide them. I have been told at this point in time, it's about 95% motorized vessel versus kayak. If council would want me to move forward with this, we could lower that percentage if you'd be more comfortable with 90-10. Again, the funding would be 90%, we'd have to pick up the 10%. And Kimley Horn, Alan Gary told me that he could prepare a planning document for application.
What's the cost?
I don't know that just yet. So I don't think, we may not make the April 4th deadline, so this may be a year from now, but it's something to think about. And mainly it was to tell you all that we can't move forward on the kayak launch with this. And it's always been for motorized vessels, and the staff member I spoke with today said it was very confusing in prior documents as to what it covered. And they just clarified that recently.
You have any thoughts, Julian?
No, I don't think it's a negative thing at all. I think it may be a blessing in disguise. We got the ramp from FWC and we need to now take care of it. And I feel like in some ways, although the kayak ramp was a great idea, I think it detracted our attention from this responsibility that we have now. And we tend to do that sometimes. We tend to find new projects and focus on them and lose track of really what's the bare bones of what we need to do. So I'm all for short-term, long-term, doing what we can to take care of the ramp, which is our primary responsibility.
If by chance Kimley Horn can give us a planning document at no cost to apply for the grant by April 4th, I would need authorization to move forward with that.
At no cost.
At no cost.
Yeah, no, you got any thoughts?
No, I'm good at no cost. Yeah.
Sounds like we should proceed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it's no cost,
The cost would be, once we're awarded, it would not cover the full cost for Kimley Horn to do the planning,
right,
engineering and design. We would still have to pick up a piece of that.
right.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. Then next week I'll get with Alan and we'll see what we can do. If not, we'll get prepared for a year from now. To take
Very
advantage- and we could budget for it.
Thank you.
At that point. Because Alan said we could be prepared to go forward October 1st.
Yeah. Good. All right.
That's all
That it?
I have.
Good news, bad, good.
Good and bad.
All right.
Thank you very
Anybody
much
else?
for the info.
Anybody else on any department heads?
Jake?
Oh, shoot.
Thanks for applying for the grant. And we also got some money from the suit the state of Florida made to the drug manufacturers of Oxycontin. We'll be getting approximately $45,000, but it'll be over an 18-year period, so we'll be getting anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500 a month. And there's also $10 million that's been put in the pool for Marion County, and we have not, they have not yet decided how many of the cities will get any money from
Right.
there. So,
Good. All right.
Thank you.
Deal.
All
Dale?
set.
That's it, okay. All right, now we're supposed to go to the council.
Liaison,
Council comments.
liaison reports. Matt is way too modest. He's been busy with things that he didn't mention. Matt looked into how we could get the Florida Blue Waste community signs planted. We have the signs, we've had them for better than 6 months. He communicated with Marion County and found out something quite astounding. City of Dunnellon is red flagged when it comes to posting signs on County Road 484 because a previous administrator failed to ask the county for permits when they planted the "Welcome to Dunnellon" signs. Okay, this is reality, okay? So, Matt is brilliant. Went back to the person at the county who approved signs to be planted along 484. And as I understand it, the county is going to put that sign in for us. No? What's happened?
They shut it down.
They shut it down. So where do we go from here? How do we get the red flag removed from us planting signs?
I'm still waiting a call back from the county. They did say we, Public Works, would have to install that sign, pull the permit, the permit that
Right.
Cory has pulled. And I'm still waiting on a call back from the right-of-way, roadway personnel from Marion County to find out everything about the welcome signs that were not put into place. They were put in the wrong place. What I don't understand, and I'm trying to get answers, Highway 40 West is a state road 40 West. Somehow, Marion County got involved in it. We pulled a permit to have signs put on it when it's the state road right away, not Marion County. Marion County told me, I have to get a hold of DOT. Well, DOT says, we don't know, Marion County gave you the permit to put it on there, I don't want the sign to put on there. So I'm battling back and forth on DOT and Marion County, so I'm still working on it.
Right?
Hopefully I can get an answer, hopefully.
Okay, keep us posted.
And from my understanding, it was permitted. It was permitted, it didn't pass inspection because it wasn't far enough out of the right of way.
Thank you for clarifying that.
The welcome sign on Highway 41, which is state road, had to be moved back. So they moved that one back. Well, then the one out 40 West, it's way too close to the road. And that's the one they red flagged and nobody ever did anything with it. They failed it and nobody kept up with the information, so.
Is that the one by the water tower?
Yes, sir. So we would have to somehow I just got into this, so I'll have to find out, is it DOT, is it Marion County, and how we can move that sign and get all this problem solved, but I'm still working on it. I was hoping the county would put the signs up, and they're like, oh, absolutely not, we're not taking it, it's a state road, we're not doing it.
Right.
Okay. But I'll check into it.
Okay. Also, this is good news, the EV chargers that Duke Energy is putting in place, they've begun the process apparently. Is that correct, Matt?
Yes, ma'am, right now they're in the process of already finished the underground utility locates. So the next step is to do there.
Right. And I have just two more things. When Troy and Matt and I walked around right before Troy left, I saw two areas of concern when it comes to safety, even though we have the safety certification. And this is about liability issues. What people are doing is they're coming in, parking over there with their kayaks, and they're coming around this side of the building, okay, and then they're going down the hill. And sometimes it's a really big kayak, like a 14-footer, and you have, let's just look at this scenario. Two 75-year-old ladies carrying a kayak along this path and down the hill. If there's a trip and a fall, guess who's going to be calling our attorney? Us, okay? We need to put a gate on the side of the building where that little path is, so people cannot walk along the side of this building and walk down the hill with their kayaks, okay? And basically, they're in an area that's supposed to be off limits, okay? We could put up a no trespassing sign, and people will still be doing it, so a very simple 4-foot gate will solve that problem. Can we do that?
See why
Okay.
not, but, I
It
mean, I
is
don't know
kinda-
why they walk on this side of the
I
building.
don't know, but it is steep, because I've walked down that hill
No, I know
before,
it's steep.
and it is, when you step off the end of that concrete,
And it's
it's really.
right
We're
down
gonna
the
have a
river.
And if the grass is wet, it's, you can slip very easily if the
Break
grass
an
is wet.
ankle, break a leg.
I agree with you, Jim, we need to address the issue
Yeah.
if somebody gets hurt.
Gates that cost like $145 a 4-foot gate. So a post and a gate and problem solved.
I think
And-
we need to do something, what do y'all think?
I'm all for doing something, especially listen to the safety concern, maybe in the interim until we can get a gate and get Matt time to do it, we can put up a chain or something like that across there with a
Excellent.
do not enter sign
Yeah.
to stop it for right now.
Right, that's good.
Put one of those little homemade signs, no trespassing. The second area is right across from Ernie Mills Playground, right next to the basketball court. If you take a look to your left, there is a concrete ramp that goes into a, would you call that a sinkhole, Matt?
The DRA.
Yeah, it's a CRA case, so it's a water holding pond. And I have seen kids going down there and playing. Okay, they need not be in there. Okay, and again, that would take a gate of some kind, that probably a 14-foot gate. 2 posts and a 14-foot gate solves that problem, and that is a liability issue too. Kids go down there, it could be after a storm, water holding, water moccasins down there. Kids go in there, start playing in the muck, get stuck, whatever. Let's take care of that issue also. It's very inviting for anybody to go in there and hide. Homeless people, whatever, do drugs, etc. Should be closed off.
I think, again, that needs to be addressed. Something, and I know, Matt, that's just one more thing on your list, but I agree, I think we need to figure out whether it's a gate, whether it's something to prevent that. 'Cause you
And
know-
a
you
no
know kids in there,
trespassing sign also. There's no sign there that says no trespassing.
People
It makes
playing
it
basketball, whatever, they're gonna get down there. So, that's probably
We
good.
chased almost out of there last week.
Oh, dude, okay, great. All right,
Oh,
you done?
no.
Oh, okay.
Historic Preservation Board. Brenda, could you tell us about the 2 Cascade improvements?
No.
What was the church, the Souls Harbor Church?
You turn up, I was on the planning commission.
I'm sorry, wrong person. Okay. Okay.
I was trying to bring up that data.
Yeah.
I'll have an update on historic board.
The
I can provide that.
party that bought the Souls Harbor Church, they have applied for a Cascade grant. It's been approved by Historic Preservation.
I can provide, that's not exactly accurate, but I can definitely provide an
Thank you.
update. Sure.
Okay.
All right, Julianne?
Okay, I'll go next. I did attend the last 2 historic board meetings. One of the things that the historic board is looking at is the application for the facade improvement grants. Just in the past year or so, people have been accessing those $5,000 grants to do things like do painting, put up new signage. The Meredith House owner just removed some old paint from the porch and spent a lot of time redoing it in a wood stain. So some of those grants are finally being used effectively. The Souls Harbor Church, well, the former church, there's a question right now if that grant is residential or if it can be used by business, or if that depends upon where the property is zoned. So I know that Mandy and the staff are taking some time to ask those questions, do the research. That request has been put on hold until we can talk a little bit more about the application. And they're even thinking about removing some things from the application, like people have used the money for landscaping, and then you sometimes see a year later the landscape has died because maybe they didn't have irrigation. So I think that the historic board is going to do some fine tuning of that application to make sure that the funds are really spent in useful So that's the update on last two historic board meetings.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, they're a very informed group of people who are, they're delightful meetings, and they're short, so get out there and see the historic board. I also wanted to say that I had the pleasure of attending the FGUA community meeting and barbecue at the Union Baptist Church in Chatmire, and I'll send the council the PowerPoint. They're really making a lot of progress with the septic to sewer program, and it's fully grant funded, and they're going to have all of the properties connected into the sewer. I mean, it's really massive. The community was spirited. There must have been 50 people in the pews. They're working on getting the permission from the residents. They're filling the old tanks with sand, and they even suggested that the county was offering to perhaps pave the roads once the project is done in Chatmire. So those residents are really excited about potential for increased property value, and it was nice to be there. It's a really great team. FGUA has an amazing, spirited team who has really gone after, I don't know if it's like $8 million, a lot of grant money, so that there is zero cost to the residents. So I think that's really positive. I'll be here at City Hall on next week on Thursday, I think. Be prepared. Oh yeah, here Thursday the 23rd. I'm going to be here from about 1 to 5:30, and if there's anything you want to come and talk about, I'll be here for that. I think that's everything. Thanks.
I'd like to make a comment on that. Anybody who's been following the Ocala Star banner, both Eric Cummings and Michelle Stone made a comment about that project, and it floored me. They said that making those improvements within Chatmere would be historically detrimental. That's their exact words.
Detrimental.
Yeah, leave it the way it is, because investors will come in and buy the property if those improvements are made. I swear, go check it out. And those of us sitting here need to, I think, talk to Kathy Bryant and have her respond to those comments.
I don't know if you
Well, it doesn't make sense. They don't want them to get the money.
If you have them firsthand or in writing, that might be helpful for us to see.
Yeah, it was in the Ocala Star banner.
Okay.
Yeah, see if I can.
Well, it's a great
track
project,
that
and it's also
article
not
down.
only benefit Chatmire, but benefit the river.
Yeah.
Nitrates in the river is the primary reason for the project. It's a,
They said it would raise property values, and investors would come in and buy out the community. It would be historically detrimental. That's what they
I have
stated.
nothing else.
New Ocala Star banner.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that we began the budget season for this next fiscal year budget. And mostly what I'm thinking of is the volunteer groups. Want to make sure that we get plants and everything, that trees, whatever we want to do for next year. If we can get those costs, then we can get those into the budget. Thank you. That's it, sir.
I review that a lot.
Weren't you going to talk about something else? About your research and the search?
Oh, I thought you was. I'm sorry.
No, I saved it to show on the screen if you wanted to speak to it. You want?
Go ahead, man. You speak.
Okay, so Tim did all this work,
No.
and.
I got to correct that part. It was Mandy, Matt especially. Yeah, it was not Tim.
Well, he made some phone calls for us, but we've all kind of worked together on this. So the resolution that was passed back in January of 2022 surplused 8 vehicles. There were 5 police vehicles and 3 public works vehicles. And for whatever reason, that just has been on the back burner for everybody. And I don't have any real specific reason for that, but I know one of the challenges that Troy spoke about was transporting the vehicles because they don't run and getting them over to the auction. So right now, in the resolution that was passed, the method of disposal does speak to auction at Weeks in Ocala. So what Councilman Inskeep has done is contacted some salvage companies, a metal scrapping company, and compared what the city would be able to get for these vehicles by those methods of disposal versus Weeks in Ocala. And turns out they are willing to come and pick up all the vehicles for us and haul them over there. Which that would be, let's see, out of the 4 salvage companies, I think the best we could do is, after everything is said and done, $3,200. The metal scrapping company, the best we could do would be $3,480. And then Weeks, they take 8%, that's their auction fee. They charge between $80 and $100 per vehicle. I'll just put this over here so y'all can see it too. And then if we get $750 at least for 8 vehicles, minus the fee and the transportation cost, we would end up with about $4,700.
And it would remove the $1,500 insurance we're paying annually, correct?
Yes, we could say that, yes. So if council is good with sticking with the resolution, and we will schedule these vehicles to be picked up, taken over to Weeks. And Councilman, you said that when you talked with Weeks, they said even if the car doesn't run, even if it's bought for parts, it will sell.
Correct.
One way or the other.
Right, they'll have scrap, as long as we don't put a minimum reserve on it, it'll be a scrap yard or it'll be a metal meltdown place that will walk away with it.
Okay.
So the point is, we won't have something that will not sell, that we'll have to spend money to bring it back to Dunnellon.
Okay.
Let's get rid of it.
Okay,
So let's get rid of all of them.
let's do it.
I'm just
And I
really
just,
quick spending money on insurance.
since you did let me talk one more time, I have one more thing I remembered I wanted to tell you. So we narrowed down the candidates for Public Works Manager to 2 people, and we've created sort of a matrix for you. I'll send that out to you tomorrow, and you have all the applications. So if you think that we should consider either of the other people besides the 2 that our interview panel has selected, let me know. But I'm just trying to create a very simple, education, experience, skills, talents, professional certificates, blah, blah, blah. And just create a table, and I'll send that out to you. And I would like for you to get back to me and let me know if you want me to have these people come to, these 2 individuals come to your workshop in April so that we can wrap this up and get somebody on board next month. Okay?
Sound good? Sound good. Okay, you through?
Am I through, Mandy?
You're through.
All right. Just trying to get through my 7, but we're going to just go over a little bit. A couple things I want to bring up that I have been meaning to do and have not done, and I am very sorry I have not done that. We have a beautification committee, and we have a lot of people coming in from the city residents and surrounding area that help out. And I want to acknowledge that we appreciate that help greatly. The beautification committee, I know, is meeting again tomorrow. They do an awful lot of work, and there's some folks coming in now helping scan, shred, whatever, all the records we have here, and we do appreciate that. So I appreciate everybody's help, especially residents out here that are doing this. And if I tried to name everybody, I started trying to make a list, and it's so long, I'm sure I'll miss somebody, so I'm just not going to say names, but I do greatly appreciate that. A couple other things. One, there's been a lot of information in the news lately about a bank failure called SVB. Then there was one called Signature. There's another one now in Europe called Swiss Credit. Again, my background with banking, I know when I see this, I get very upset. But anyway, long story, I want everybody to understand that those things are very unique. Our city banks at a local community bank here. I have all the faith in the world in these folks. I met with them, Jan's met with them, we're negotiating some changes and some things. But having said that, I know a lot of you may have heard that all our deposits are only insured to $250,000. For cities, it's different. We have more backing than that, so you don't need to worry about the city's funds. And that's what I wanted to relay to y'all. Again, it's very tragic when you see a bank failure, but the more I hear about the ones that have failed, people were just not doing their job, and that's all I can say. So I hope some people get fired. Next, I know City Works and Chad are working on putting up some parking signs around town, and those are going to start going up. We may have some residents upset or excited about that. But we're trying to prevent damage to some work that's already been done on the right-of-ways of this town. And I want you to just be aware, if you're a citizen, that these are going up and they're going to be enforced. And because we just paid to have a lot of stuff fixed. And if these people keep riding on the right-of-ways, we're going to have to fix them again. So hopefully we can stop that.
It's tearing up the sidewalks too, which
Oh,
are
yeah.
causing trip hazards.
Exactly. Okay. One other thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to do this really quick. With the guidance of Mandy, she and I went over to Tarrant County, and she kept a short leash on me so I wouldn't say something stupid. And we had a nice, very nice meeting with Kathy Bryant and Jim Couillard. Learned a lot about some projects that they have helped us with. Again, I'm trying to get educated on all this. They were extremely helpful. They have given us some ideas on possibly ways to eliminate some of the boat traffic that's around the ramp on Blue Run Park. Mandy started working on that with Jim. We're going to have to work with FWC on that project. We've got some forms to fill out. It may take some time, but hopefully we will get a lot of this boat traffic parking around the bridge and that ramp gone. Okay, that's all I'll say. We also discussed the swimming at Blue Run Park and some of the dangers of that. So we'll be getting back into that as a council to see what we can do with that particular item. I know we also learned about some other things which will be coming up shortly, and I don't want to get too much into that. The other thing that's come up this week in Tallahassee was both the Senate and House in Tallahassee has brought up some changes to the short-term rental ordinances. These are all in discussion. Anybody knows anything about law, it kind of is a mess when it gets started, and we don't know where it's going, if it'll ever pass, whether it'll fail, and go off into never land. But I think, again, this reaffirms to me it's probably good that we're waiting for our fourth member of the council to really get into this, because if some of these changes come about, it could affect what we're going to do with our ordinance. So please bear with us. Again, this could go through the whole session in Tallahassee and nothing come out the other side. Or we could end up with some changes that we'll have to address. And finally, I hate to drag this out, but I heard there may be an opportunity if this council decides we want to do this. I know we struggle with this boat ramp all the time. We got the boat ramp in its current state, and it was given to us, and now we're dealing with things like how to charge for it and how to repair it, this, that, and the other. There may be an opportunity to just give it back. And I don't know whether that's going to happen. I think that's something we're going to have to all discuss. And again, sometimes when you're given something, you wish later you hadn't gotten it. But again, I do think this boat ramp is critical to Dunnellon. I think a good place to put boats and pontoon boats and other things I don't like sea-doos and jet skis in. But it is, they need to be safe. We also need to have a good place for kayaks to go in. Again, this has come to my attention that there may be an opportunity to discuss with him taking it back. So again, those are things that are in the works. I do appreciate everybody's time, and the attorney needs to stay.
Yes, Council, I don't have much this evening, so very briefly on the short-term rentals, just touching on that. Yes, there are actually a couple of bills. I think only one is really receiving much traction, and it went through committee. Actually was voted on yesterday with yeas and is moving on to the next committee, so that's in the works, and it just deals with registration and does touch on several aspects of the proposed ordinance has been currently reviewed by the Planning Commission. Other than that, there is a draft ordinance for Blue Run Park and the swimming, dealing with the ramp per council's direction at the workshop. That is in Mandy's hands, so that can be reviewed, and that'll be coming up presumably at the next workshop or whenever council's ready to revisit that subject. That's all I have.
Great.
I have one more thing. I'd like to make a correction, a statement I made about Chatmeyer community comment. And I said Michelle Stone and Eric Cummings. It was not Eric Cummings, it was another one of the county commissioners. Eric Cummings is on our Board of Education. So that was wrong. And I will find that article and forward it to Mandy so she can send it to you all.
Yeah, please do that, because I want to read it. I missed it. I get to start back
Right,
today.
if you Google Chatmeyer, it's right there, but
Hey,
I'll find it.
I just wanted to clarify one more thing, if I could. Now that you have taken seat one, congratulations. We're going to move right ahead then to post his seat. And what's the time frame on that? Then we'll collect applications for at least a month?
So,
Yeah, we didn't really decide, did we? We talked about it.
Just in case anybody sitting out here is eligible and interested, I want to definitely leave them with the information that they need.
so I did look at that today, and so if we get it posted on the website tomorrow, we could do that right away. We just can't get an ad in the Riverland before next Friday, which is the 24th.
Okay?
And we published the workshop agenda for April on March 27th. So that doesn't give us a lot of time. If we set March 27th as a deadline, which would be the agenda publication date, so you would know when the agenda got published who would apply. So you can extend it out until the actual day of the workshop if you choose to, which gives, I think that's about 10 days from the day it goes in the paper on the river, in the Riverland on the 24th. If you're okay with taking applications up until your actual April 3rd workshop and having them presented then, you just wouldn't have them in advance of the meeting. But it would give more time, people more time.
Do you think 3 days is long enough, or should we go?
I thought you said the day of.
No.
Well,
If
the
we-
day of agenda publication is only 3 days after it would appear in the newspaper.
Okay.
If we go to the workshop day, that gives them about 10 days. Gives them another week. I don't know.
And does
I
it,
just wonder if 3 days is long enough. Of course, we won't have the applications till the day of.
Right. That's what my thought is. Yeah,
Review
right.
them and vote on them.
I think it's pretty important that we take the time and review the right ones.
Well, it'll be, well, the only other outlets that we have right now, we have the website, we have the city's Facebook page, we can put it out there. It's been on multiple agendas, it's been discussed in public on multiple occasions, so it's not like people are completely unaware of it.
Right.
But
Okay.
it's your call.
I think we just go with it like we got it. They get 3 days and that's enough. I mean, like you said, this has been going on since Bill resigned in January. This could be what happens, and it's what happens, so I don't think anybody will be surprised.
And there's nothing that says that you have to advertise for a certain period of time or anything like that. So that's, it doesn't even require you to advertise in the newspaper. So we just do that. But
And if we get to the workshop date and 20 amazing applicants have put it in, we
Right,
could just say
that's
at the
not gonna give us
workshop,
time.
like, okay, we need a
We'll
little
have
more
to put it
time.
off a month, I don't do that. Yeah, I agree. Let's don't extend it. But I do want the public to understand, we want everybody that would be interested in serving this city to please fill out an application. Because I do want to get a good candidate to come up here and join us.
so you're good with setting the deadline for the 27th, which is our agenda publication date. Okay?
Yes, I'm good with that, because that's gonna give us time to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay? Anything else?
Yes.
We all good?
I got two.
I get a motion to adjourn.
I got two things real quick. All right, well, one of them is piggybacking off of this. We're gonna wait until we have the fifth council member to vote on vice mayor.
Yes.
God, this look, I just want to leave it. I'm not applying for it, I just want you to know.
Come on now.
I got my recommendation. The Blue Run swimming ordinance that Andrew has created for us, is that on the April workshop?
It will be on the April workshop, but I'm going to go ahead and email it to you in advance.
Great, thank you.
You'll have it tonight.
Now I'm done.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn now?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.